What's up, guys?
What's up? Today we've got some NFL free agency buzz, some UFC and MLB. Let's get into it.
Let's go.
All right, we're going to start with the free agency buzz in the NFL. Let's start off the top with Aaron Rodgers. There's been a lot of rumors that he and the Steelers are going to re-sign. Go ahead and give it another run. What are your thoughts on that?
According to the Pat McAfee show, have been saying that McCarthy and Rogers have been buddy buddies every single day. Now, not talking about contracts and signing with the team, but just talking in general, being friends, being buddies. So I feel like if you're doing that with Aaron Rodgers, then he more than likely will want to be staying with your organization and team. I think it's the most logical spot for him to stay in is with the Pittsburgh Steelers. He's 42 years old. He probably knows a lot about all these other offensive schemes, but not enough to feel comfortable going there and learning all the extra stuff that he would have to learn. He's pretty familiar with McCarthy's scheme and his offensive mindset. So I think it's just really a hand in the glove fit for me. I think it would be Aaron Rodgers' best bet if he continues to want to play in the league.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how many suitors he would have at this point, 42 years old. I think he has a leg up with the Steelers situation. He was there last year, so especially at this time, a lot of their teams have already made their decisions or know what they're going to do going into the draft. So I think we're pretty sure he's going to end up at the Steelers. I think it's going to be pretty similar to what we saw last year. I don't know how you can pretty much expect much different at this point as far as not only what Aaron Rodgers brings, but we know what Mike McCarthy brings. He's going to have a good culture. He's going to have a solid team. The Steelers are bringing back a lot of their pieces as well. So, yeah, I'm not. Maybe they can win one or two games more than they did last year, but I'm not expecting anything really major happening there. Do you have a different thought?
They did lose Kenneth Gainwell, who really came on strong towards the end of last year as a dual threat running back. Really good hands, and he did pretty well in the running game as well. They lost him, but they were able to go and sign Michael Pittman Jr. from the Colts. I think with Metcalf and Pittman Jr., those two guys are going to make Aaron Rodgers' job a little bit more easier. Now, granted, I don't know how well their running game's going to be, so you could be in the same situation as my Houston Texans were this past year when we had several quality wide receivers along with Nico Collins, and we didn't have an offensive running game, and it didn't really matter who was out there out wide. You got to have a good running back by committee as well, if that is what your strength is, to take some pressure off. So I think like I'm right there with you. Maybe one or two more games, and it could also flip the other side, and they can lose more games than they did this past year. So I do think, though, with the familiarity with Mike McCarthy and Aaron Rodgers, along with some of the pieces that they were able to retain and as well go and sign in free agency, I think they'll be all right. Especially in that AFC North, it started out last year thinking it's going to be one of the best divisions in the league, and then fast forward a year and there's not really one team in there that impresses me whatsoever.
Yeah. Next, we have Odell Beckham Jr., a 33-year-old veteran, 7,987 career receiving yards, 57 career touchdowns. Where do you think he's going to end up? I know there's some speak of him going with the Giants. What do you think?
He does pass their physicals and their workouts. I think he should go ahead and sign with the Giants, and I think they should go ahead and send him an offer and re sign him. His career started with the Giants, like 14, 13 years ago. He made his career playing for the Giants and Eli Manning. It didn't end good whatsoever. So I think it would be a great comeback story and a great reunion story. And overall, I think it would be a really good spot for him to land. You have John Harbaugh there, and it's a new coaching regime. No one that was there when you got traded away or you left there is still there. So it's the same team, but it's a whole different vibe, a whole different culture. And I think with the pieces that they have there on offense right now, I think it would be a very good spot for him to go and finish out his career.
I agree. I think that'll be a really interesting pairing. OBJ, Jackson Dart. I'd be excited to see that, especially thinking, I know this might not be a common opinion, but I definitely think OBJ has some left in the tank. I know it's flag football. We saw him make a couple flashy plays there, but the dude, he's always had above average athleticism. So I would say, even though he's not the same, he's going to be a good receiver to have. I'm not going to say he's going to be a one or a two, obviously, but he's definitely going to be a good piece to have in your back pocket. So I think it'll be a benefit to both OBJ and the Giants, and I think it'll be a good ending to the story if he can stick there, even if it's just 1 year, but maybe 2 more years, and do something productive and help the Giants win a game or two. I think that'd be great.
Jackson Dart and Cam Scatabo, they bring so much energy and youthfulness to that team. Just imagine their personalities with OBJ. That might be pretty beneficial for him having some sips of the fountain of youth.
Yeah, how cool would it be for him? I mean, those guys were in probably elementary school watching OBJ make that catch over the Cowboys, and now they'd be looking wide out and seeing him out there on the field. That'd just be surreal in itself. Next, we got Kirk Cousins. What are your thoughts on him? What are you hearing?
I heard some little noises coming out of LA where Sean McVay was open to the option of signing Kirk Cousins as Matthew Stafford's backup. Been thinking about Kirk Cousins' market and where he would fit in for a team and where he would do well in a team. And I didn't think too much about the Rams because they already have Matthew Stafford. You're always thinking of teams that are QB needy or they need somebody to come in, plug and play for them. But I think it works out really well. I don't know what Cousins' desires are in his career right now. I wouldn't assume that it would be to go and restart somewhere and rebuild. He's got to be wanting to go and chase a ring. One of the best teams in the league right now happen to be the Rams, and I think that they could potentially very well win the Super Bowl next year with the team that they have and the team that McVay has built down there. So if he wants to chase a ring, get back with old buddy Sean McVay because they were together in Washington, I think that's a really seamless spot for him to fit in.
Yeah, I think it'd be a great spot for him. I think ultimately his goal would be to be a starter. I think he has similar feelings as Joe Flacco. Both these guys probably think that the other teams are stupid for not having them as their starter. But ultimately, if he's going to be a backup, obviously he wants to be a backup for a team that has a chance to win the Super Bowl. So this has got to be one of the best, if not the best pick he could make. So I would definitely look forward to him going there, especially if Sean McVay's comfortable enough saying that out loud. He's got to be expecting it to happen.
And he would just have to be coherent and be average at best in that offense with all those players and the star talent around him. And Devontae Adams, Puka, Kyron Williams, they got a couple solid tight ends. That offensive line is solid. And then you have a defense that has improved significantly in free agency this past year. He won't have to do too much. And he knows how to fling it too, so
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see for Kirk how many more years he has in his career. You can't be thinking it's very much longer. I think he's 37 years old, so it'd be nice to see him. He's always been a great guy. See him go out with a Super Bowl. Get into some UFC. We had a pretty big fight this weekend. Israel Adesanya versus Joe Pyfer. It's a pretty upsetting fight. I said if Izzy lost this fight, he should go ahead and retire. You saw the style and fashion that he lost. I mean, pretty much it's icing on the cake there. 4 losses in a row. A lot of people are saying he looks great until he gets knocked out in the last 4 of these losses. But how many times are we going to let him get knocked out before we say, yeah, he just doesn't have it anymore? Like, yeah, you can have it. He can still do the things he was able to do, but ultimately, if you don't have that chin, which he had 100% all throughout his career, I think it's evident he doesn't at this point. I know he's fought a lot of heavy hitters in these losses, but ultimately, I'm just not seeing a way out for him. If you want to do a retirement fight, I completely understand that. Give him a fun matchup, but ultimately, I think it's the end of the road for him. As UFC fans, none of us like to see our legends, our guys who are great, lose fight after fight after fight. I know people have come back after 4 fight losses before and have turned their career around. I think it's possible for Izzy to do that, but at this point, I just think he's got to really weigh his options. I mean, is it worth it, the damage you're going to take at this point in your career to kind of win a fight here and there, give names to these young up and comers, and if the money's good, I'll shut up right now. I mean, I know it's definitely one of the higher end, top paid fighters, so I understand that motivation, especially with the UFC pay scale. So yeah, what are your thoughts on it?
He came out saying, "I'm gonna continue to fight. This ain't the end of me. I want to keep going." And you pretty much said it well, though, with his chin, that he just doesn't have the same chin like he used to. And you could see that because Piper was really piecing him up on two or three occasions in that fight. And it just looked like Adesanya had lost his step and he was just stunned. So I think Adesanya, who am I to tell him what to do, or who am I to say my opinion on what he should do? But yeah, just like in any other sport, whenever you see your greats struggling and they're losing at a consistent rate, more recently, you just hate to see them keep chasing that dream and keep chasing that desire to be on top. It's also something very virtuous and powerful when you can accept it's your time and your time to just go and drift and ride off into the sunset.
For sure. And I know he hates this talk. You said it. He said it after the fight. He said it before the fight. They were joking about it, him and Henry Cejudo, about how fans have already retired him and all that stuff. So, I mean, I get it. And honestly, obviously, if he keeps fighting, I'm going to be watching. You know, he's must watch TV. He's a huge draw. Even after four losses, he can go and headline another fight next week, man, if people are going to watch. So, time will tell. Obviously, if he says he's gonna fight, he's probably gonna fight. Um, Ultimately, just like you said, who am I to say what he does? I haven't done nearly the stuff that he's done in his career, so it's definitely still an inspiration no matter what. At this point, he's a legend no matter what, and no matter what he does and how he ends his career, it's going to be a net positive. I'm just speaking from a fan's perspective. At this point, we don't want to see this guy go out like Tony Ferguson. So, next fight of the night that we're going to cover is Alexa Grasso, and the insane KO is my fight of the night, knockout of the night. It was just insane. Macy Barber was seeing ghosts out there. It was just rough, and the fact that Macy Barber was laying on the ground for like another 5 minutes after it happened was bone chilling. Just the crisp knockout right on the chin, perfect placement, spinning her around, and then just with the quickness, before you could even blink, her jumping on the rear naked choke and strangling her. I mean, 10 seconds later, and we're witnessing a murder in the octagon. What are your thoughts there?
I've never seen anything like that before. That was crazy. And it looked like her knockout punch didn't look that significant, but I guess it just caught her in the right place on her face or her jaw. Dropped her before she even hit the ground. Her cold body even hit the ground. Grasso was choking her out. And so I'm sure some sports bettors were excited and happy for that. But that was just insane, man. I've never seen anything like it. I don't know if that's something you see every so often in the UFC or in an MMA, but it was just the speed and quickness that she had. She knocked her out, and then she just wanted to finish it off with a sub. That was insane to me. That was awesome to see and super scary for Barber. She just looked like she was in another world and another planet. So glad she's okay.
So where she is coming off that loss to Natalia Silva, coming off the loss to Valentina Shevchenko, the rematch for the belt that she lost. It's an amazing comeback and the way that she's done it, man. Macy Barber is no slouch. She's a veteran. She was trying to get that win to be able to fight for the title. Alexa Grasso is still very young in the sport of MMA. She's 32 years old for the sport of women's MMA. Let me be clear there. So she's probably got 3 more years here. It's really good competition. So I'm gonna be really looking forward to her next fight. Maybe she puts together one more win and gets a title fight, and that would be awesome to see. Just the caliber of fighter that she is, and ultimately, if Valentina still is the champion when she's ready to fight for the title, I think everyone would be happy to watch that one again. So
We're the main faces in the women's division, the women's title fighting.
that's a very good question. So there's two weight classes, and Valentina's weight class.
Sometimes I don't know if I'm asking a good question or I'm just like throwing you out to the
It's
wolves and you're
great.
like,
It's it. It's a great question, and if you asked me a year ago, I'd be able to tell you. It's been a rough year. Like I would have been able to name to you like the five for sure in each division. All right, so there's three divisions. You have strawweight, flyweight, and bantamweight for the women's. Um, Strawweight champion is Mackenzie Dern. We watched her win that title a couple months ago. Top names in that division is Zhang Wei Li, Tatiana Suarez, Verna Jandiroba, and Yan Xiaonan. Flyweight division, you have Valentina Shevchenko, who is arguably the greatest of all time. Top contenders in those division is Natalia Silva, who Grasso had lost to before this win, Manon Fiorot, Alexa Grasso, and Aaron Blanchfield, and then Macy Barber at five. Then you got Rose Namajunas in there as well. Then in the bantamweight division, you've got Kayla Harrison as the champ. We watched her win the belt. Then you've got Juliana Pena, Raquel Pennington, Norma Dumont, and Caitlin Vieira. Bantamweight division, that's the heaviest division for the women's. That's the one that's kind of dry, to be honest. The competition pool isn't huge there. A lot of older fighters. So Kayla Harrison, we can kind of expect her to reign over that division, in my opinion, for a couple years to come.
Pretty solid names.
Yeah, they're solid names for sure. The only issue this year is that there's been just so many few women's fights, and there used to be way more in the past couple years. So I don't know what's going on. I'd love to see those get mixed back in because, people forget. Like, you're telling me, asking me the names and how many divisions, and a year ago I could have told you all that stuff as far as like the fighters, the top five, and just with the lack of fights, it seems it's just been easy to forget.
That is interesting. And it's not lack of talent or anything.
For sure. Definitely not. You can say that in the bantamweight division. Like I said, let me be clear about that. But in the other divisions, you'd think you'd be able to see a lot of movement. But that's all we got for UFC. So let's go ahead and get into some MLB. You want to start it off?
This year is the first inaugural season with the new ABS system. No, this does not involve your brakes, but it is automated balls and strikes system. It is to kind of keep the umps in check, kind of minimize the controlling power that they tend to have used throughout the years. And so far, at first, I wasn't really enjoying it. I didn't think it would be a great idea. Just having robots and AI and all that stuff involved in a sport. It's like, come on. Can we just keep the human element into it? But for almost the first week down in this MLB season, and I've really enjoyed seeing these ABS calls. And like I said earlier, it's putting these umps in check, calling them out. Haven't really been able to do that. The managers get to do that. I think they get 2 challenges for certain calls or anything like that. Or they can just go and, bicker with the umps and figure something out. But this new ABS system has been awesome. It's creating a lot of drama. It's shown on the screens. They can challenge these pitches and these, whether they're called a ball or strike. So it's been really awesome to see these catchers. They're showing the camera views are showing the catchers' faces along with the ABS automated system on the screen. And man, the look on these catchers' face has just been amazing because I'm sure that they've been waiting all their lives to be able to like feel this type of way with umps. Because really, you can't really, if you're a catcher, you can't really make any noises. You can't grunt, you can't complain, you can't whine, you can't talk to these umpires because then it's just going to be an uphill battle for you and they're going to be calling against you for the rest of the game. So it's been really awesome. And then you add the fan base into that, the environment that they have, because it pops up on the screen. And if that called a ball and it was in fact a strike, the whole crowd's cheering. So it's just bringing this whole another dramatic effect and dramatic element into this, which I think is really awesome. And the sport really needs it because a lot of people say this is a boring sport. That's why they created a pitching clock a few years ago. So they're doing ways and making things to make it less boring for people who are not familiar with baseball or trying to get into baseball, just so it can be more inclusive, I guess. But that's one thing I have really enjoyed this season so far.
I love it. I think that's a lot of sports can take from this. I think you, like you said, keep that human element, but you should be able to challenge it, especially in important moments. Playoffs is definitely got to be at the top of my list for the reasons for this, but at the same time, still keeping, the human input. That's part of the game. It'll keep the game flowing better. So I appreciate that. I love that the sport of MLB is just continuing to kind of make it better. I loved when they added the pitch clock in there. Just to kind of speed things up, keep the game moving along. So I think it's definitely going to be a net positive. I mean, like you said, adding to the drama of the game, you can't get enough of that, especially in baseball. So yeah, I think once the umps get over it, it'll be going pretty smooth. I mean, if you're gonna fine players for speaking out against the umpires or even speaking to the umpires in a certain way, the athletes, the team should have an outlet to be able to challenge that in a professional setting, and I think they've done that.
All right, let's get into some of our Texas Rangers news. So we are almost a weekend. Our current record is 3-1. We won the series against the Phillies, and it's looking like we're going to win the series against the Oilers currently. I believe we're up several runs right now in the game going on. But yeah, I am going to sound like a completely different fan today and like a stereotypical fan who can just be over dramatic at times. But you know what? I'm going to lean into that and I'm going to go with it. So, the number one takeaway I have noticed so far with this first week of baseball has been our offense is alive. Our bats are flying, our bats are cracking, and the offense is really attacking. That first game just reminded me so much of last year and the struggles and the offensive woes that we had. It's just so freaking frustrating. And then it's like a flip of a switch and everything's turning around. The bats are hot. Just about everybody's getting a piece, getting their ribbies, getting their runs, getting their hits. And it's been awesome to watch, man. I made a list of on the lineup best batting averages and worst batting averages. I am going to lead with best batting averages. So here we go. First up is for best batting averages is Nemo, our leadoff hitter. Berger having the offensive performance that he has so far. He's hitting over 400. He's got 2 homers already, and he's just really seeing the ball super well right now. That is a big breath of fresh air. Just that's when we traded for him last year. That's what we were hoping we were getting. But it's finally paying off in his year 2 with the Rangers, and it is just awesome to watch because he's in a cleanup spot at number 4 in the lineup. Next up, Higashioka. He has been hitting pretty well, and we signed him last year. He's coming on really strong for us. His nickname is Higgy. Next up, no surprise, is Seager. He is not the best hitter right now on the team. He looks a little slow at times when making his decision for the pitch. But overall, he's being Seager and he's doing Seager things. Evan Carter is doing outstanding. He is kind of playing reminiscent of that 23 season when he came in for us and just really took over. So he's a super patient batter. He's going to make that pitcher work, and he's been opportunistic. Another guy, and I wasn't sure about it when they did it a few weeks ago, but that is signing DH Andrew McCutchen. He's the oldest guy on the team, and he just has the most energy. And you can see it amongst the team and in the dugout. They're just feeding off of his energy. It's amazing how much a veteran, especially an average or above average veteran, can impact your team and just the culture around that. They're hitting really well. They're playing good defense, pitching really well. It's just, man, it's a great day to be a Rangers fan. Now let me spoil that a little bit with the worst batting averages. Number 1, no surprise. His first name starts with a J. You know where I'm going. His name is Jock. No hit, no wonder. Peterson. He can't get anything going. He did get a sac fly yesterday, but man, I'm still on the we need to get rid of Jock Peterson train before the trade deadline in July. Next up, he was on our show last week. We talked about him. I think you covered him more than I did, and his performance would impact and how his performance would impact the Rangers. And that is Wyatt Langford. He's starting off with a very cold start. He has not hit well whatsoever. So I'm hoping that he can turn it around. I believe that he will. Another guy that I was talking about coming in really hot and that I was really high on is Josh Smith. He's starting out pretty slow too. So I'm hoping that those two can turn it around, along with Josh Young. These are my worst batting average players. Don't let that affect our mindset. Don't let that affect our mood. It is a great day to be a Rangers fan.
Yeah, man, I think to your point, it's a long season. I love that the guys are happy, joking around and stuff, but it's easy to do that when you're 3-1 at this point. So let it see how it plays out. I love that you think they're a little more energetic. Ultimately, like I see your squad. I mean, how could you be energetic with what the output that they were putting out? I think as long as the bats keep going, this team's going to continue to play like this, was just going to be great for them. You do need that output, like we said, from Josh Young. You said he got a hit. I have him right now at 17 at bats, 0 hits, so I probably missed one there. And then you definitely need more from Jock Peterson. We talk about him a lot, friend of the show. He's got to do something. He's got to figure it out. But yeah, man, I'm definitely looking forward to the outlook of this season. Jake Berger, like you said, looks unstoppable. 6 RBIs, 2 home runs, batting 4.71 at this point. So if we have him continuing to play like that at cleanup, it's going to be a great season.
Yeah, none of that has to do with the fact that we might have the best pitching rotation in the league. We have Nathan Uvalde, we've got Mackenzie Gore, who we acquired this offseason. Jack Leiter had an outstanding game last night. I'll give a little sneak peek here. It's going to be something we talk about, or I talk about here in a few minutes. Then Jacob deGrom. So those are four super solid starting pitchers, couple aces. I'm feeling really good about this whole team. If we can just keep it going. It's a long season.
I think to your point, I mean, we've seen for the past 2 or 3 seasons at this point, like great pitching, arguably the best in the MLB. So we know what to expect, and we could even possibly expect even better now that DeGrom's had some more work under his belt coming back from the injuries. And now that you've got Gore, you could probably expect a better pitching this year. So, like I said, if we can just get some decent bats this year, it looks really positive. You ready for our triumphant moment?
Let's do it.
All right, I'll start it off. It's an easy one. Alexa Grasso losing the title. You have plenty of opportunities. You can retire, live off of what you've done. You have a name for yourself, do some seminars. 30 something years old, and you can pretty much wrap it up. She decides to not do that. She wants the belt again. She goes into a fight with number one contender, or attempting to be number one contender, Natalia Silva, and she loses that fight. So at that point, you start reconsidering what your trajectory is for your whole career. Now you're 2 fights down in a row. What's it going to take for you to get back to the belt? And she comes back and puts on a performance like this, man. That's insane. It's hard to tell exactly what she's going to be able to do moving forward from this. But like I said, one more fight and she's back in the title conversation. Her story's been amazing. She gets trained, I think, by her father coming out of her home gym in Mexico. It's just been insane what she's been able to do, and super triumphant and exciting. So that's my pick.
It's a great one. Being able to come back and beat all the doubters, beat all the haters, super triumphant. Mine is going to be an easy one as well. It is going to be one of our starting pitchers for the Texas Rangers, and Jack Leiter. He is coming off his best year as a pro. Last year, he really developed as a starting pitcher in the MLB, and he still went through a lot of youthful growing pains in the MLB, just learning a lot and trying to get better every day. Last night, he started for the Texas Rangers against the Orioles, and in the first inning, he gave up a home run, and he was kind of losing some of those pitches, and something between him and Higgy wasn't really clicking, and I'm like, oh man, hopefully it's just the first game of the season, first start of the season jitters, and hopefully this isn't something that we should worry about moving forward. But nope, after that first inning, second inning on to like the sixth inning, I believe he pitched up until the sixth inning, he was just a lockdown starter. He had 7 strikeouts, had so many whiffs, and he just really flipped a switch and took control and took command of that game last night. Us Rangers fans, we've known that Jack Leiter's been around the organization for a while. He's been a super top high prospect for us, where a lot of people are really high on him, and we were wanting him to succeed and get better and be a high quality starting pitcher in the MLB. And it just took a little longer. It's just taken a little longer for him to get going and find his pitches and find his rhythm. And so going to be a little skeptical and worry about starts that happen like that. But nope, he silenced all the doubters, silenced all the haters. He really just took control of that game, and I think that might be his best game as a pro. He just, the way that he commanded and forced all those whiffs is just super inspiring to me, and it just kind of goes back to his backstory when he was in Vanderbilt. Whenever you're a top prospect, there's a lot of expectations on you, and when you don't meet those expectations, and especially when you don't meet those expectations in the time that people think you're supposed to meet those expectations, that can create a lot of stress and a lot of problems for you. He probably had to go through a lot, and just to see him overcome those struggles and overcome those difficulties and just really dial it in and be a solid pitcher in this league is something that is inspiring and super triumphant to me.
Yeah, man, that's a good one. I can agree. And also, I'll throw in like kudos to the Rangers for sticking with him because he was down there for a while waiting to get his pro start. So for the Rangers to just stay committed, I just think it's worked out perfectly for both of them. So he has a really positive outlook on his career. So we'll see where he takes it from here.
Yes, sir. All right, well, y'all go ahead and give us a follow, give us a like on YouTube. Let us know how bad our takes are or how good they are, and we'll see you in the next one.
See ya.